attacks, and then I'll talk about Glow, which is the solution. And the one more attack is down here, Hacking PoWHCoin in the cryptocurrency section. This was another real attack. This was Ponzi coin made on 4chan as a joke because it was an investment that made no sense, but people put $800,000 in it, and in addition to being financially unsound, it was insecure. So this one we can do in Remix, and I'm going to get the full source code again. One great thing about attacks on the blockchain is that intrinsically everything is saved on the blockchain, so you can go back and see exactly how the attack worked. So here's the proof of work coin, and I can go to raw, for example. There we are. Then load the whole thing. All right. And now I can go to my Remix and put that in my contract. So here, PoWHCoin. Delete and paste in that stuff. Okay. And compile it. And clean up my old blockchain. And deploy it. All right. And now let me get my steps, because this one gets a little confusing. All right. Now here's Ponzi token. And this one has quite a few functions available. All right. So we're going to fund it with 50 Ether. So we choose the first account here. There it is. And give it 50 Ether. And fund the contract with that. So that invests 50 Ether into the fund. And now my balance has fallen to about 50 Ether. All right, now I can add another investor by choosing the second account, and they can invest 1 Ether. And they do it with the same fund button. The green check mark shows that it worked. And now the second person's account has fallen to 99 Ether. Okay, now we're going to do a transfer. And the way you transfer from one to account number 2 to account number 3 is you approve a withdrawal and then perform a withdrawal. So we're going to go to the third account and approve a withdrawal by this person. So we copy that account number and select account number 2 so that the action will be performed using account number 2. Now we go to approve and spender and value. So in the spender I put account number 3 and a value of 1. Okay, and transact. And again it works. Okay, so now I check the balance of account number 3, and I go to balance of old and paste in account number 3. All right, run that, and it's 0. Okay, so I've approved a transfer into this account. I haven't done it yet, and the account still has 0. So to do a normal transfer, I would now transfer funds from the contract into account number 3. But the hack is to transfer the Ether from account number 2 to the contract address, executing the contract as account number 3. And the end result is this is going to subtract money from an empty account. And you'll see the logic why this happens. In a transaction, there can be as many as 3 addresses. There's the from address, the to address, and there's the address that's paying for the gas. And those can all 3 be different, but the coder of this contract did not realize that. And they used the account that's paying the gas as one of the parameters, even when that's not appropriate. So, see if I can do this. All right, go up to accounts and make sure I have account number 2 here, which is fine, which has 99. So I copy account number 2. Okay, and now I go down to the transfer from here, and I put that in the from address, account number 2. Okay, now really, here's another defect here. There's already a fund button, which is how you invest in the fund. And that's the one way that works and is fine, but they took the transfer from function and also made it possible to invest from this other function, which is another error because that turned out to be insecure. So you can invest in the fund by taking the fund's address here and putting it in the 2. All right, and now I put in a value of 1. So this is so far reasonable. I'm taking from account number 2 and funding, but now I go back and I pay for the ether from the 3rd account. There, that's the trick. And now I do the transact. And it works. And now if I go to balance of old, this account now has an infinite amount of money, 2 to the 256 minus 1. It subtracted from the empty account containing the gas and rolled over, and now it has a huge monstrous amount. So to understand the vulnerability, I'll just show the instructions here. So here's the flaw. This is where it checks to make sure that you have enough money if allowance is less than or equal to value, and that's fine. But the problem is it checked the balance, comparing it to the from account is equal to this. We used account number 2, so that worked. Line 116 checks to see if we're sending into the contract itself, and if that's true, it calls the sell function. And here's the sell function, but the sell function in line 211, it takes the sender and subtracts the amount, and this is the account that's paying for the ether. So by taking this transfer function and jumping to the sell function, it moved from an environment where there were 3 addresses to an environment where there was only 1 address and did not take that into account. So you're able to confuse it. Anyway, a simple enough fix to stop this is to put a revert in line 117, because this is where he did this unwise thing of letting you use the transfer to fund the account. Now that is not necessary. You have a fund button that works. So if I just change line 117 to revert, so I no longer let you send coins to the contract this way, then of course that will stop this attack. Anyway, that's the last one of them I wanted to show you with these vulnerable contracts.